Hello. Can you believe it? I'm really happy to tell you all about my sexuality. I'm very fine with telling you all about old soul nonsense, but it's not nonsense, okay? But it was something obviously that I held very close to my chest for a long time. But see that? It's my new essay. And I understand somehow fundamentally that I have got to complete the circuit, and then I'm released. Then I can go be with my friend and be loved on like I deserve after what I feel I have accomplished. But it's true. I can't. A simple I'm sorry is not sufficient to loved ones into lifetimes of misunderstanding. So, this is a gift that's offered very, very meekly. I'm shaking. My phone is trembling. But that's how important it is that I say these words out loud. And I'll try to do it without crying, but I'm a crier, so whatever. Okay, baby, here we go. It's called The Seventh Vow. Written today, 5/9/16. And it's my gift to you, the beloved. And it's everyone. And it's so many beautiful souls who I feel I need to read this to. I don't exactly know how to describe the last 15 days. What feels like 15 years in some ways, 15 lifetimes, 15 realities. I mean, anyone who has even glimpsed at what has been happening on video knows that my absence from the written word has been, if not purposeful, then at the very least explosive to my psyche, my former countenance, and to myself. I stand before you now changed in some fundamental way, a way which allows me to feel somehow sated and full and clean. Somehow, through all the exposing of self, for all the giggling and crying, explaining and exposing, still, somehow today, I know that it was really pretty okay to have done what I have done. My son doesn't mind. In his mind, it's just Mom doing what Mom needs to do today. He struggles with not having resources once in a while for the things which bring him profound joy, a sense of having been seen, and a stable sense of day-to-day reality. This state of stability is something I could not provide day-to-day, so often, for him, because I did not have it within self, yet somehow he has been willing to roll with it. But so much of what parents do is visited then upon their children, to wrestle with and make peace with in church pews, on therapist couches, and within their future relationships. I can hear the brogue as I type, knowing now, full well, that what I was shown at the side of my bed Saturday afternoon is true. I was channeling. Somehow, I was channeling. Each and every essay simply transcription of dictation from my soul. I saw a ribbon of purple and a ribbon of gold. It was the gold that I rode and languaged here. It is the purple which visited me, and with great good humor and alarming skill, cracked open the last of my misunderstandings, forever silencing koans I have troubled over ceaselessly, worrying over them with prayer beads, somehow happily unaware of what the weather was doing, what my loved ones were experiencing, or what the world thought. That I have had a truck with the other is fairly obvious, and that I have allowed this sense of other to be threat, a silent and still threat to all that is holy. Well, maybe it was that very dissonance that led to the isolation, to the writing, to its solace, to this body of work, and ultimately to its release. I have to ask of myself and then you, is that all that bad? Has not this sharing, this willingness to stand before you naked, has this not been valid, beautiful, mesmerizing, helpful, informative, enthralling, unique? I went to the Crystal Cave, I'm calling it, that crystal-encrusted sauna, just a few miles from home. And this last time, I knew the shift had already occurred. By then, we were simply solidifying. As I stood in the communal shower, caressed by the water, as I felt and heard and watched an ancient grieve things I didn't fully comprehend, well, I figured it was the least I could do. Whole rolls of history, of which I was unaware, played out in my body as the water ran off of me, imagined crimson, clotting, swirling, as it dripped from my yoni, my eyes, my fingertips, my hair, my lips. I let her mumble and grieve. I carefully modulated her keening as it crashed through my body, so as not to disturb the others, of which there were many that day, though contact with any seemed preordained, purposeful, and healing. I witnessed this old one's relief as I heard a heavy pointed spear drop to the floor, saw an impossibly heavy sword fall from her hands, becoming something other than identity and a means of survival, lying there on the tiled floor, the scales and the blindfold she had worn, there on the vanity, a smirk and a nearly a growl of disgust rolling from a mouth suddenly less mine than an instrument for a woman, an entity, a soul, a goddess, too long defending those who could not defend themselves against a tide of such profound misunderstanding that innocents were what seemed unendingly and viciously and proudly slaughtered to punctuate the confusion within everyone's minds and hearts. As my body ran red, their shrieks of terror read exclamation points, then pools of blood, which thankfully, eventually, with patience and breathing and expression, ran clear. By the second shower, it was all about good-smelling hair products and the little reminders of the fun yet to come in a simple day known as Mother's Day 2016, with my baby, now more man than boy. But while contained within that place, the transition was done reverently, step by step, and breath by breath. The dunks in the water were less about being held in a birth chamber this time, tended to by invisible holy maidens, midwives, during a quiet weekday afternoon of visions and voices. No, this last time it was about coming in, coming down, and being at a new place of peace with it all. The asymmetry, the simple joys, the unanswered and unanswerable questions, less koans now than setups to astoundingly good jokes. What fills me with humility and compassion, but no longer a burning sort of shame, is that I am well aware I have been honored, respected, heard, met, and loved by such deep and unique and bogglingly beautiful and strong people. And I've chosen in their company to find a corner, crumple, and wail, but you don't even see me. Oh my God. It was so clear this morning, finally, that in the end the only one who was not fully aware and accepting of me was indeed the only one for whom the appellation me can be applied. So, is taking 3 weeks, or actually 15 days out, to figure out the final portion of this, is that okay? Well, of course it is, and a long time in coming. That it was preceded with years and years and years of self-imposed isolation, suspicion of others, and brittle, angry arguments as to the sincerity of their love and the validity of their reality. Well, that is something for which I can only ask their forbearance, tolerance, patience, and, if blessed, their understanding. It is that arguing and picking at the love presented, which I so deeply regret, if I have to, for this moment, adopt such a thing. Regret, remorse, I've steered clear of these things, thinking instead that, in the end, each do what is necessary, and then the chips fall where they will, as I smile a long, tired smile, and I shrug. That's how it goes, I guess. such is life. I realize only now how mindfulness, appreciation, and wonder have begun and will continue to ease my way with others, and they with me. I think it is all the experiences and work since 2012 which has helped to cement for me arousing, and sustained appreciation for others as they present to me their selves now, perhaps or assuredly in the midst of their own confusion, pain, and isolation. To understand in some fundamental way that each carry their own eternally bleeding wound, the wound they look to others to acknowledge and bandage and whisper to, in dark night, in meetings, at conference tables, and while in neutral discussion, in argument, and while at play. It is this appreciation and tenderness which remains. Is this compassion? I remember how clear I was prior to going to that crystal cave the first time with them. I want this edge removed, I demanded. I want it gone. No more. No more. It is so foul to watch my lip curl in contempt at myself, at another. It is not acceptable to me any longer. Neither is it comfortable for me to imagine myself an instrument of anything other than gentleness, acceptance, and peace. I cannot tolerate the thought of my presence being that which harms another, any other, ever. And so the lifetime of discomfort, of unending review of what I have done and said, what I might have meant, and what was heard, is over. I told only one friend the depth and width of this self-review, and how it crippled and tainted everything I did, spoke, and shared. Hours spent feeling ashamed of having spoken at all, for having voiced a dissonant reality, an opinion which perhaps was not that of the consensus. Good God, it would rattle my bones, and it created such suffering, such loneliness. I think it was that which served to deepen the chasm I knew followed me into and led me from every situation. Somehow none of that matters now, none of it. It all seems like a really bad dream. One with no clearly redeeming features. Something pitch black, which simply began to dissolve, separate, and lift. That this lightening is closely related to only hinted at, yet obvious laws of quantum physics, well, at this point all I can say is so much the better. It is a way home. It is a way to understanding and to peace. Maybe not for you, but it was the relentless need to apply all of this to laws of physics not currently languaged or clearly understood. Well, thank God for friends is all I can say. I have a friend who coaches me, cheers me on, as I venture farther and farther into a reality for which there is no ready-made structure. But we are sisters in this pursuit, a shared passion. Have we not been called futurists? The old ones, the ancient souls, who pay a modest price and then within the presence of such greats as Lee Carroll and beloved Cryon, gain assist and surcease to these never-ending questions, leading us to truths not currently referenced in our libraries and halls of learning. And again, is that such a bad thing in the end? I submit it is not, if it leads to peace, eventual peace, and today, realized peace. The last tape I made inferred that I don't expect to partner with just anyone, and a man who cannot see that which now rides above me, sings below me, and provides a lattice work for profound thoughts and awarenesses, not wholly my own. That is a man I am so happy to share so many gifts and pleasures with, but who chooses not to hold safe and bring close that which makes me who and what I am. There is no such thing as true commitment available there. But now, for me, there's peace, acceptance, tolerance, exploration, union, adoration even, and a slightly melancholy, even now, certain and full knowledge that it will not be me, but they, who eventually will turn and leave to their old life, their old ways, their old relationships, or maybe even new life, new ways, and new relationships in which they can express somehow more fully, or happily, or peacefully than in my continued presence. I know this because it has been my only reality up until now. Time after time after time after time after time. And as this sadness I wish to address, this belief which needs to be healed, put to rest, given peace this day with a new vow for me, just for me. These new vows I adopted when I realized I had been functioning under old ones, those of social isolation, privation of necessities, self-harm, and rejection of the artificial world I remembered, that I knew lay beyond convent walls. Somehow, giving up so much seemed nothing more than a little thing, a nuisance, a small price to pay, to stand moment to moment within the presence of my God. So I did a little ceremony, and then I adopted new vows, ones which I felt could construct a better life with. The vow of the fat farmer, the love puzzler, the supreme hedonist, and the queen were then augmented in these last weeks with the vow of I am and the vow of galactic family member. I felt complete and somehow weirdly explained, contained, and nourished within this structure, which until this morning felt whole, complete. But as I reached for a coffee mug this morning, I realized, oh my, these vows still carry the scent of social isolation, and allow for further disappointment in relationship with the other, with the beloved, with you. I might have missed the pushing away a boat from shore, but this morning I swam to it, determined, unwilling, to let this ship sail without a final declaration. My 7th vow. I never imagined I would have 7, but there it is. It is required. It is that from which the others somehow flow now. A completion, a verbalization of that which I have carried and allowed to go unrecognized and unmet, undiscovered and uncelebrated, unexplored, in company, all these years, all those lifetimes. That I have had a reawakening of my Akash is an understatement. It brings me peace, though, now, and no trouble. It is good to know so much, and to see so much in the skin, and to smell so many realities within the breath of those who I am in company with, those I love, and those I so very much want to know in some brand new way, far more satisfying than ever before. Isn't that what this whole process is about, really? New life. Being given another shot at interpreting and appreciating that which comes before me, but now, having no argument with it, no willingness to attack, criticize, or belittle the sincere gift of self the other so meekly hands to me. That which I have been so fond of destroying, finding fault with, disturbing, and knocking around until it simply wanders off dazed and bruised, if not cut and bleeding. A new vow, one which brings to me and holds close the other in dignity, in recognition, in celebration, in sacred honor and holy regard. That which has been so miserably lacking in each and every one of the profound and fun relationships handed to me this lifetime. Me angrily spitting on, mangling, and discarding so much, so much, so much. And yet, is not the time of keening over? The grief-fueled cries now settled, the body exhausted, the mind wholly stilled, the blood having indeed been washed clean. And I'm sorry hardly seems worth stating. Oh my God, what have I done? That is what was shocked me into meditation, and finally into writing this morning. Oh, what have I done? So often criticizing that which I have known as love, calling it names, and not allowing it to relax. Ever, really. All I can do is move forward from here with a new commitment. Come from sudden knowledge that I can do so much better than I have done in the past. I know the past now was a glimmer, rising from a hot pavement I just came from. This shimmer, a trick of the light, largely, thankfully, more and more irrelevant with each hour that has passed since dawn today. My seventh vow, a simple one which I now understand and will prize above all others, because suddenly, finally, I understand the meaning behind the simple words. What some have witnessed, and that which is so evident shining through the lines of this work, is this. I love myself and my God now. I understand how interconnected those two words are, because I have been given a lot more than mere glimpses of its body, its mind, its heart, its creativity, its benevolence, its presence within and through me, and its highest hopes for all. Because I awoke this morning to silence, this is no longer a complaint, because this silence is evidence of demons which were not slain, but simply asked to leave, and they complied, dutifully, once the eviction notice was issued by a self surprised and giddy that a simple declaration, a request, a statement of fact, was all that was ever needed. Over the last 15 days, one by one, they have vacated, compliantly, silently, obediently. And within the silence this vacating has given me, I feel unspeakable gratitude, such profound power, unexpressible union, and a peace. The peace, I say, which passes all understanding. And so my seventh vow is a simple prayer, something repeated by many and now adopted by me as my new song, my new commitment, the garden from which the fat farmer offers his fruit, and the font from which all of my blessings, gifts, and expectations forever flow from me. I vow now this simple thing to you, each of you who meet me, whether it be at the store, at a party, at work, or in my soft and warm bed. It is only the meaning of the verb which has changed, deepened, thickened, and become a song. It is only this verb's translation into physical reality to which I want to apply my efforts now, proving to myself anew, daily, that I am able and willing to actively engage in its fullest expression for me. And then, oh God, how can I not give this to you? To do anything less is, well, it would be a misunderstanding, dear. My voice is come, stroking my hair, humming, beaming with the love that only a mother knows for a child. How can you not? They ask indulgently, with a shrug and a smile. How can you not? Now go ahead, dear, and tell them what you're wanting to say. It's okay. It's time. I vow to each to love. I'm going to say it right. I vow to love each of my fellow travelers as I love myself. Sena.